So I've just got back from seeing Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. So I'm just going to give a quick review of my thoughts on this. I must warn you, it is not very positive. And there are massive spoilers throughout this video. So do not watch it unless you've already seen the film. Or don't care. He didn't even have any secrets. What secrets did he have? That he has a sister that he accidentally sort of killed? We already knew that. That Credence was secretly Dumbledore? We already knew that in the last film. There was no Secrets of Dumbledore. Apart from that though, just found it boring. Just found it really long and really boring. It kind of felt like the plot had like no narrative drive to it for most of the film, like there's just no focus. There's a whole idea that like no character should know the full plan, which means that the audience don't know what the plan is. And then that means you're just kind of lost throughout most of the film thinking like, well, what are you trying to do? What's that character trying to do? What's that character trying to do? It'd be like if you're watching a heist film and they never tell you what they're trying to steal. It's like, what am I watching then? What are these characters doing? Also, speaking as the internet's Hogwarts expert, the whole Hogwarts thing in the promotional material was a massive bait and switch. Almost every shot of Hogwarts you see in the film is from the promotional material online. There's barely any new stuff in there. So, you know, in the trailers, how you see the wide shots of Hogwarts and the Great Hall and the scene in the Room of the Requirement, that's it. You do not need to pay money to see Hogwarts in this film. It's already released for free online. So if that's what you're going for, don't bother. There's none of it in there. All of it's in the trailers. All of it, apart from like 20 seconds worth. And that's not even a new room or anything. It's just 20 seconds of a scene you've already seen most of in the trailers. They're teasing you with it. They're teasing you in the trailers like, oh, come and see Hogwarts. In the poster, Return to Magic. There was this whole big featurette on the Warner Brothers page where they like talked about how they brought Hogwarts back and all the cast are talking about how brilliant it is for Hogwarts back.
I think what excites me the most is the opportunity to return to a place that we grew to love in the Harry Potter films.
There's so many nuggets in there.
To see some exciting and familiar locations within Hogwarts.
We see Quidditch going on, Quidditch players. We see significant characters.
In this wonderful world, it takes you out of your own world.
There's so many nuggets in there.
Surreal to walk onto these sets.
There's so many nuggets in there.
It's in 2 scenes of the film. It's in this film less than it was in Crimes of Grindelwald, but yet it's in the posters and heavily in the trailers. They are weaponising nostalgia for the Harry Potter series to try and get people into these films. And it's not even working because the box office has been going down every time they've released one of these films. Fantastic Beasts started at around $18 million opening weekend in the UK. Crimes of Grindelwald comes out and drops down to 15 million. Secrets of Dumbledore, 8 million. I mean, I know the pandemic's going to affect it a bit, but even so, that's very clearly signalling that people aren't interested in these films. The Harry Potter films, in the UK box office, apart from Prisoner of Azkaban, all of them made over $20 million opening weekend. So we go from the highest UK opening weekend for a Harry Potter film of Deathly Hallows Part 1 for $38 million at the UK box office, not the American box office, the UK box office. We're a much smaller country. That is a massive figure, to $8 million for Secrets of Dumbledore. $8 million. $30 million less at the UK box office opening weekend. They've lost the audience. And they've lost the audience because the films are rubbish. Crimes of Grindelwald, boring. Rubbish script. Fantastic Beasts, the first film, okay, pretty fun. I enjoyed it. But Crimes of Grindelwald completely ruined all of that momentum. This film, it's just boring. Makes you want to go to sleep. Just a few other random thoughts on this film. All of the setup from the previous film, Crimes of Grindelwald, is just thrown out the window. Just doesn't lead anywhere. Queenie kind of joining the dark side. Irrelevant, she just turns good at the end. Credence being a secret Dumbledore, irrelevant, just turns good at the end, didn't go anywhere, wasn't interesting at all. The magical like plot device that means that Dumbledore and Grindelwald can't attack each other, didn't lead anywhere, completely irrelevant, back to square one at the end of the film. Just a little idea here that they could have done. Why not have a little twist at the end where you find out that that little blood device, it's not real. And actually Dumbledore has been lying this entire time. And the reason he can't move against Grindelwald is because he doesn't want to move against Grindelwald, because he loves him. And there's a twist for you. A narrative twist. Something to happen in the film. That would have been a perfect twist. Because that stupid blood thing, it's stupid. It's stupid. The only reason it's there is to solve a plot problem. Where you kind of go like, why doesn't Dumbledore just attack Grindelwald immediately? Oh, because there's a magical thing which they made together, which means he can't. Oh, I see. I understand now. No, say it was a lie. And then, guess what? That's a secret of Dumbledore. That's the secret of Dumbledore. He'd kept that secret the entire time, but actually, he was lying. There you go. There's your Secrets of Dumbledore. Thank you. Pay me now. Rewrite this film. Re-release it with that. There you go. Just something I'm confused about as well. Was the fact that Newt was there with the chillin at the beginning, was that a coincidence? I'm presuming Dumbledore had sent him, but I can't remember that actually being said, which is weird, isn't it? Like, it's a weird coincidence that he was there at the exact moment that birth was happening and for the exact right creature that the rest of the plot hinges on. Like, is that just a massive coincidence, or have I missed something? So, yeah, let me know on that one. Also, all of that stuff about the election and the Minister of Magic for the entire world, that was never established before anywhere, was it? All of that just, yeah, all of that was just a bit weird. And like, the fact that they have, like, this whole ceremony of, like, the chillin decides who it is, except that wasn't actually the official ceremony, that's what they did in the past, but then they just brought it back. Why not just have it be that is the ceremony always for the chillin does that? I mean, you could have established that a bit easier at the beginning of the film rather than kind of like dropping that in the middle. Like, you could have had Newt going there on behalf of the Ministry of Magic to get the chillin, and it's established that he is going there to get the thing for the election, and then you establish both the election and the chillin in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. I think that would have made the narrative feel like it had more of a focus right from the start. Instead, it kind of just like gets dropped on you as you go. And it also would have like given Newt a bit more of a clear like agency for what he's doing. Like, oh, he's there on a separate mission that's nothing to do with Dumbledore. He's just doing his job as a magizoologist, which we don't really see a lot of in these films. I don't want this video to be like completely negative because there were some bits that I liked. I liked that new character, Lala was her name. Although she basically did just feel like a replacement for Tina, and her character didn't really go anywhere in the end. Like, she didn't really do an awful lot in the final act. But her as a character and the actress, I actually thought, yeah, that was fun. I liked her. I liked her introduction scene with Jacob. Jacob was really good in this as well, as he always is. Is there a reason that Tina's not in this much? Like, did she tweet about JK Rowling or something and she's been like blacklisted? Like, why was she not in this? And why was she effectively replaced in the narrative by Lara? Yeah, I'm just kind of interested. Like, if you know the answer to that, let me know. The other bits I liked was everything with Newt and the magical creatures, which is what these films should be about. That whole prison break scene was brilliant. And I could tell, like, in the audience I was in, that was the bit people were responding to. Although even then, so they have this kind of like fairly fun sequence of like breaking out of the prison, doing the funny dance, and yet they still feel the need to end that with a gruesome murder of a random prisoner. Why can't these films just have like one scene which is funny and light and not end it with a horrible, gruesome depiction of a body being eaten alive by crabs? What? Why? I liked the Grindelwald and Dumbledore scenes for the most part. I really thought the actor who was playing Dumbledore's brother did a really good job. He feels like the younger version of the actor we saw in Deathly Hallows, yet he's still bringing something new to it. Jude Law's accent was really weird in this. It was like 70% English and 30% Irish. Like, that that was odd. But for the most part, he did a really good job. And I do like him. He is good as Dumbledore. And Newt is like great. Eddie Redmayne as Newt is great. I think with these Fantastic Beasts films, the acting, the casting is brilliant. The production design, still pretty good. The CG, I think, looks really good. My two major problems with these films is the directing and the writing. The directing, it's David Yates. I think I've seen a few comments on my previous videos where people are saying they're kind of fed up of his aesthetic. Same. I did a whole big video about how the colour grading in Fantastic Beasts isn't anywhere near as kind of warm and inviting as the previous Harry Potter films. And I stand by that. You know, they just look grey. I think it'd be nice to see a different director take over and give a new vision. But David Yates himself, I don't think he's a particularly bad director. It's just a very like uninspired take. JK Rowling though, she might be a good author. She is not a good screenwriter. Crimes of Grindelwald, that was just a complete mess narrative-wise. This one is kind of similar. It's better, but the plot is still pretty badly written in my opinion. As a film, it's just not paced well. You know, you don't really know what's happening for a lot of the film. Like I say, that whole thing about like the kind of, we're going to confuse Grindelwald by having a confusing plan. Well, that just makes the audience confused. So if you're not going to have really nicely well-written films or nicely directed films, then at least go the Marvel way and have big, earth-shattering cameos or universe-defining events happening. You know, build up that hype train. The big problem I had with this film, and part of the reason why I found it boring, was that there's like no big surprises. There's nothing you don't expect to happen. It's just not good enough to make a film this lackluster in this day and age if you want people to go to the cinema. The reason Marvel is making money right now, when barely any other film is because Marvel are making huge events happen in their film. Spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, but having 3 Spider-Men come together on screen is an amazing experience, and it makes you want to pay money to go and see it. What is there in this film to pay money to see? There's just nothing big, there's nothing exciting in this. Get some of the original cast back, just to do a flash forward or something. You know, like how in Lord of the Rings, is it the Hobbit films? They bookend those films with the older Bilbo actor, who I can't remember the name of right now. The start of The Hobbit is the previous Bilbo Baggins introducing the story, and then you dive into Martin Freeman after that. You know, why not bring Michael Gambon back for a big surprise cameo of him returning to the role of Dumbledore? And at the beginning of the film, he's, you know, looking back at his life. You know, you had Michael Gambon in your trailers. Why not actually have him in the film, returning as Dumbledore? Yeah, it could look a bit desperate, but it's something exciting. It's a surprise for the film. My overall grade is must try harder. This isn't good enough. Or stop at this. This actually, I would be happy just ending it here. You know, they stopped Grindelwald becoming the wizard president of the world. That's a victory. I'll take that. I don't think I need to say any more. Just stop.